Tabimoyo Aina Ja Praiser at Triple Platinum Experience. Welcome to Build for Success. And I'm happy because Ngonidzashe I'm studio. I watched this man grow. Kusvika pari nhasi kudai so saka ndinofara kana achinge awana mukana wekumbouya achitaura nesu achitidzidzisa so chirikuenda kuita kuti Ngonidzashe Walter Karasambudzi is a transformational speaker and he's also a law student saka nharo dzacho dziripo kuti kuti sei zvako Ngoni dai
ndiri nani titeshami. How are you? Welcome to 2026.
Thank you so much. At least ndowatanga kundiwelcome 2026.
Yeah.
Saka maplans are 2026 akabira sei patonyora here vision boards everything written down.
And I thought those were hangu after this segment.
Kuna kutoti dhera nhasi ratodarika.
Because
No plan.
No, not per se, but I was in church for the crossover.
Oh, okay.
And then after that I had to sleep. Then after that I'm here now. So yeah. It has been a hectic moment.
But zvinotoratidza kuti watomboita something chinobatsira your spirituality, chinobatsira even nekuti pauri kudzidzisa newo uri kutodzidzawo and even impact iyo yakakosha.
Yeah, that's true, Sisham.
Saka tototi your first day has been successful.
Very successful day.
Alright, saka Ngoni watitimbotaura nezvenyaya yeexposure nhasi chipinda muna 2026. Exposure yakambokosherei, so that's what we are here to talk about today.
Yeah, so Sishami, I was just thinking to myself a few days back, and I was saying, there was a moment in my life, Sishami, we used to be asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And what I would say often is, when I grow up, I want to be a policeman. When I grow up, I want to be a soldier. Why? Because looking back, I reflect and say, the best people in our society, the society I lived at that particular time, were police officers, were soldiers. So I envision to say the greatest level of success that I can attain is being a police officer or a soldier. Not to say it's a bad thing, but I was not exposed. But now with exposure, you then realize, okay, so this is the list that I was saying I could be. There's actually more. Yeah, so exposure is one thing that I want people to become in 2026. They need to be exposed.
Thank you so much for giving that example yawataura yezvawaita uchikura. Ndinozviona even panouya vamwe vana panava for radio tours vana vechikoro kuti mumwe wakutaura kuti I want to be an optician, I want to be a surgeon. Ari kutonzwisisa at primary level kuti kuva doctor unokwanisa kuspecialize nezvakasiyana. But mumwe mwana chaanongoziva ndechekuti I want to be a doctor. Hatoziva kuti kutori nedoctor wemaziso, kune wemabhonzo, kune wemazino, kune wechii. Iye ari kungoti ndoda kuva doctor because ndozvaakangonzwawo kuti kune madoctor anoshanda basa rakati. But haana exposure yekuzonyatsoziva zvakakwana. So it's very important tinge tichitaura nezvenyaya yeexposure iyoyo.
Ndizvozoteteshami because you also realize kuti isusu tichikura we used to know that you get a car when you're old, when you go to work. We're exposed to this mentality. You have to be first employed for you to be empowered. But you then realize that we have people that are doing so well. Look at Tino Tungwarara, a 17-year-old running 2 companies, which is commendable. And they're 20, but they're saying, I will start Ndazokura. When are you going to grow up? So exposure is one thing that we need to invest in 2026. We need to invest in the right associations. We need to invest in being exposed to the right people. And trust me, exposure will bring a lot of benefit to our society.
And I found out what the right people, because we don't want to exposure, impact of the negatively.
That's true. That's true, Saseshami. And if you just go to a Google search and you search the exposure that people are getting, you look at the sites that people visit. People don't even know what the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange stands for, but yet they want to be economically empowered. So how do you grow? So through 2026, people should be exposed. Exposure, itombode mari. The same 250 megabytes that you're watching pornography, you can use those same 250 megabytes to understand how the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange works. And you're exposed. And the Bible, by the way, says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So what it means is that God also has an understanding that the reason why people perish is because they lack exposure to knowledge.
Exactly.
So be exposed if you want to grow in 2026. And it's one thing, it's a challenge to myself to say, in 2026 as we are starting, we need to be exposed. Exposed to the right people, to the right associations, to the right knowledge, and we'll then grow and succeed.
0719945945 ndo namba dzemustudio kana uine pauruda ungoisawo comment yako chitaura nezvenyaya yeexposure mustudio aibva Ngonidzashe Walter Karasambudzi, a transformational speaker. Mumwe munhu ari kuzvibvunza Ngoni kuti how then do I become exposed, what should I do? Exposure yacho ndomboiwana kupiko ndizonzi ndave exposed ndendamboita sei?
That's what I was trying to get into just a minute ago, to say, Sisishami, exposure does not cost. Yes, exposure pane no cost, but for a start, you can be exposed. Kungo, vaone network yakanaka. You know, just every time when we end the year, I delete some contacts. Because I try to audit to say, I deleted.
No, you're still
part of the phone book. We won't do that to our mentorship. But there are certain people that are toxic. Exactly. You know, I was just evaluating some relationships. There was a moment I said, I want to do this, and you know, the people close to me said, no, you cannot do this, you can do this later. And I was like, okay, so these people consistently, they feed negativity. So I should not be exposed to these people. So I closed that door by deleting the contacts. Yeah. So in 2026, as we are starting, so that, you know, we grow. Because we expose our growth. There's this group that I am in, by the way, and they were saying we need to start savings, and they were saying we need to save 1.2 every month. I was saying to myself, where do I get 1.2 every month? But that association is important. Why? Because it allows you to grow. You're exposed. These people have ideas, because they're not just saying we need to save 1.2, but they're actually saying to us, you know, there are business opportunities here and there where you can actually formulate a business idea. The associations that I am being part of this year, they're saying, you know, if you don't have a company registration certificate by February of 2026, then we're not going with you. You're remaining there. So these are the right kind of associations that we need to be part of as we approach 2026, and we will grow and succeed.
That's very true. So you mentioned about Nyaya association. I know kuti iwe unofarira zvekuverenga. Let's talk about exposure kumabhuku.
Yeah. So Sishami, you realize kuti I was so happy. I was listening to one conversation that he had with Tapio the other time, and you were saying, you know, if a person wants to hide something, they will hide it in literature. So you will find out kuti vanhu vakawanda, they just need to be. You don't even need to visit the Victoria Falls for you to know. You just need to read about it, and you just need to actually look and say. I was actually thinking, Sishami, saying, I'm going to use this society for a particular reason. If you go to Gadzema right now, there are people that think they have houses, but there's no house in Gadzema, if I'm to tell you the truth. Because if you then get exposed, you realize, so we need to start growing, and we need to start seeing, you know, this is not a society to be. So going back to the issue of literature, you actually find out that they don't even read. You don't even read the Word of God. You don't even read the basic text to grow as an individual. You ask someone who's the minister of, you know, you don't even read the papers. You don't even know who's the minister of justice in Zimbabwe. You don't even know who's the minister of defense. And you need to grow. And by that, you then become successful. Because I think the thing that is blocking our way to success is exposure. Lack of exposure has been blocking our way to success.
Inde takaitoita dambudziko rekuti kana ndatobva kuhigh school zvekuverenga zvatopera ndakutongoita zvekushanda. But thank you for mentioning kuti nyaya yekuverenga yakakosha. Let's talk about wamboibata mbijana nyaya yezvatinoonawo as well, be it on social media pamasites akasiyana siyana kuti zvine impact ipi, and what can we expose ourselves to zvinozokwanisa kutibatsira.
Okay, so Tetesha, that's a very important question, because I was watching one TEDx conversation where there was Strive Masiwa, then the Google Senior Vice President, Mr. Manyika, James Manyika. So you actually find that if you look at that video on YouTube, it has less than 8,000 views. But go to these Mpata family and videos that are trending on social media, they have over 1 million views. Yes. So you see, people rush for mediocrity, yet they should be exposed to the right things. If you go into that video, you actually find out that Mr. Masiwa exposes that the way to go is AI, is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence to the extent how does ChatGPT works, which is the least thing in the artificial intelligent world. So I think we need to grow and we need to be exposed to the right things. TV, there's nothing wrong about watching TV, but you need to understand that the people on TV, these are people that are entertaining you and making money from entertaining you. Yet you're just watching them and you're not deriving any benefit from that. So every time you do anything, ask yourself, how am I going to be exposed to the right thing by doing this? By watching, by being. You need to take up challenges in 2026. You need to be exposed to ukanzwa kuti pane conference yakati iri kuita $80, you just say, okay, if this, an investment in your future pays the best interest.
Thank you so much for talking about investing in your future. Nekuti kazhinji tikutarisa kuti $80, not even $80, $10, $5, ndikuritse $5 yangu, but you're not looking at the value that you're getting from attending or participating in a certain event.
That's so true, Sisi Shami, and I think 2026 habit yo ngati mboimire. Let's be people who are willing to go an extra mile for us to be exposed. Because the moment we want to be stingy in being exposed, because, I was just thinking, Sisi Shami, and I want you to confirm for me. Sisi Shami, what you dream is how you're exposed. You dream to the extent of your exposure. If you ever realized you're not ghetto, you never dream when you're in Borodale. When you're in Borodale, the dreams become different. So the reason why Jesus used the parables is because he understood the extent of exposure of the people he was talking to. They won't understand because they're not exposed to heavenly things. But if I speak to these people saying, there's this fish, there's things that they know, that they're exposed to, they will be able to comprehend and understand. So when God wants to speak to you, he will speak to you through the extent of exposure. So let's invest a lot in exposure. Imagine a big because they are not exposed to big. About $100, it's enough for them, it's sufficient. But we need to grow. $100. They want to spend it like a man. But Aliko Dangote the other time, he said, people were calling me a billionaire, and I said I want to see it. He went to the ATM to withdraw the money. He withdrew it, and it's like, oh, I have so much money. So it's because of the exposure. But you owe $50 now, you have squandered it. So let's then be exposed to the right networks, exposed to savings culture, exposed to a lot of things. And once you see Gucci, you are exposed, you actually see progress and growth in your life.
Ngoni, thank you so much. I'm seeing that we've run out of time. Mawedza ko longo pawo ekupedzisira ekukurudzira tipinda 2026 kudai so.
Mawedza angu androda kungotaura as we start 2026 is that for 2026 to be different from 2025, you need to do things differently in 2026. Because the moment you're going to maintain habits, now 2025, there's nothing that's going to change. Kana uchingotambura in 2025 and you're not willing to step out and be exposed to new avenues of revenue, then you remain the same.
Right, Ngoni, I think we should do a second episode because Ngwena uyabva yakwana. Ramba kabata Platinum FM munza yawe.